this. We got a Milwaukee boombox, job site boombox. I want to try to let you hear what's going on. Well, you could probably guess. It's going to be some bad speakers, but I wanted to see if I can get you to hear it. So I'm going to play a little tune. I got the bass turned up a little bit so you can hear it. Let's see if we can hear it. So hopefully you can hear that. That's the problem that we have, and we need to fix that problem. I just have my little MP3 player with YouTube free music plugged into the auxiliary port. It's on auxiliary here, and this top goes down, and it has two locks on the side, but I'm gonna actually tip this sideways, and then we'll switch over to the above camera to go from here. Alright, so let me just tip this thing up here. Hopefully this doesn't fall out and bang into anything. Just like that. So that's what we have. So I already went ahead and took out the screws. There was these little tiny screws, little 4mm screws, Allen screws, that fit in each one. Speaker covers. I'll start with this one because this one is the worst looking one, and this is in a metal shop, so you're going to notice some metal filings. All this, you can see this metal filings right on the edge of the speaker all the way around, and you can see that the speaker is totally gone on the rubber foam there, the surround. This is the same, but it doesn't look as bad from above, but it actually is the same because it's ripped all the way around. You can just pick that right up. It's just as bad. So we need to replace the surround foam there, which I went ahead and ordered that stuff already. So here's the new ones, and this is actually rubber, a rubber foam type thing or something like that. These are, I believe these were probably about the same. They almost look like it, but they could have been just foam too. It kind of looks like it's a little bit of rubber in there. But there's our new ones. So I cheated. I took this apart to see what was going on before I put it on the camera. Shame on me. And I also bought the speaker glue. Figured I'd give this stuff a try. Never used it before. Usually when I repaired speakers, I just used Elmer's glue, because that's the same thing. Of course, I'm not fixing any speakers that are handling thousands of watts or anything like that either. So I already loosened these screws, took these screws out. The screws that hold the speakers in are just little Phillips screws, 4 in each. I gotta clean up these metal filings before we do too much, but you can see as I flip it over, look at all that. That's all metal filings. That's not good to be in that kind of an environment with speakers. And then if I can flip it over even more, you can see there's where we have to solder the wires, desolder the wires to get the wires off. because they're also hooked up to the what looks like the tweeters up there. So after I clean up the metal filings, then I'll desolder it, and so we can get these speakers out. This radio only has 14 or 40 watts. So these speakers are only rated at 15 watts. So how they do their calculation, I have no idea. But that's what we're going to do on this one. So let me get this all cleaned up and get ready to take these speakers out so we can start replacing the foam. Got it all vacuumed out as best as I could. I just used regular house vacuum since they have good filters in them. So now I'm just gonna, I took a picture of the wires to where they're connected just so I don't put them back on wrong by mistake. It's always good to do that, no matter how well you think your brain is on remembering things. I mean, it's usually black goes here, black goes negative, red goes positive, but they also have a capacitor in here too, which is for the tweeter. So it's kind of where you can't mess it up, but you never know. Alright, there's one. So we got two black wires that go together, and then we have a red wire, and then the other red wire goes off with the capacitor to the tweeter. There's a little bit of stuff I need to vacuum off yet. I did it while it was connected, so it was a little hard, so I can do it better now. Let's get this other side undone. The negative of the capacitor actually goes to the positive. Come on. Capacitor wants to give me a hard time now. There we go. That was not too bad. It still has a little bit, needs to be vacuumed off as well. Alright, but there they go. You can see on the back we have HONSON, and then it's 6 ohms at 15 watts. So I looked up replacement speakers for these, and no can do. I mean, unless you really want to pay an arm and a leg, and it's not really worth it. This radio, I believe, was $250. You could buy just some regular 15 watt speakers, 6 ohm. They're going to cost you a little bit though. It's a lot cheaper to just replace the stuff you need here, the surround. I even contacted Milwaukee and asked them if they sold replacement speakers, and I got a reply back saying, I don't think so. You think they would know better than that, but so apparently they don't sell speakers to replace the ones in your boom boxes. So cherish the ones you have, or you're going to spend a little bit more money, $50, $60, $100 or more, just for little 4-inch speakers, 15 watt 4-inch speakers, You can probably get 20-25 watt, I thought I seen, but getting at 6 ohm is a another hurdle to go across. And you want to put back in what you take out. Don't add 4 ohm or 8 ohm or anything like that. Keep it original. This way you don't tax the circuit board at all and take a chance of burning something up or burning your speaker up or something. So, alright, enough of the blah blah. Let me get this boom box off the table and get the speakers cleaned up a little bit more, and then we will start with the tearing apart. Alright, that looks good enough. First things first, we have to take out the cardboard that holds the edge down. That almost feels like foam. Usually it is cardboard, but that really feels like foam. Let's see, I got a little tiny screwdriver around here somewhere. Well, let's do the worst one first, why not? Be extra careful when you're trying to remove this, because you're going to put this back in there. So try to get it off in one piece and as best you can without destroying it. That didn't turn out too bad, but like I said, this is not cardboard like you're used to seeing. It is foam, and that's kind of odd. But yeah, so there's that, and I just used a little flat screwdriver for that, and that worked out pretty good. But this is going to take some more time here, so I'm not going to bore you and let you sit there and watch me for who knows how long it's going to take for me to do this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all this outside, remove this part, of course, and then on the cone itself there is some that we have to remove on the back, and you can kind of see that little ridge there on the back. We have to remove that the best we can because that's where our new one is going to attach to. So we want to work with a nice surface. So I'm not going to record this part of it because it'll be really super boring, but that's what we're going to do. So I'll see you back when I have both of these cleaned up and ready to go back together. And remember, do it carefully to get this piece off, because you will need that again, unless for some reason you can make a new one out of something that is a lot better than that. That's up to you. I want to kind of show you how I'm working on getting the stuff off the inside. Hopefully we can see that. You can see right here, I got the other side all clean. You can see nice and shiny. I used some Q-tips and some isopropyl alcohol to clean up all the glue, and scraped it with the screwdriver and come off pretty good. You can see the mess here. But now it's time to do the other side, and that's going to be a little bit more difficult because you have to work through these holes, and if you get lucky and are able to peel it off, that's good. But so far I haven't been lucky to do that. So what I did was I used some Q-tips with isopropyl alcohol, and I saturated the foam surround that's stuck on there. And then now I'm just kind of gently scraping. I have my finger underneath for support, and I'm just gently scraping the surround. I'm just scraping it off, just pushing it outward, and it's coming off the paper. And it's not doing too bad. I'm probably going to have to soak it down a few times. You know, or as you're working it, you can kind of see some glue. That's glue that you see, that little white line right there. That's some glue that's still on there. I'm not really too concerned about getting all that off, but just getting the foam off. So I just wet a Q-tip, just get it nice and soaked in there. As it soaks in, it makes it easier to actually peel it off, because it just starts falling all apart. You don't want to get it too soaked or too wet that it actually starts ruining your speaker here, especially if this is cardboard, which this kind of feels like it, but it feels like it has some kind of coating on it or something. It might be even plastic. That's what it kind of feels like, so it shouldn't ruin this at all, and I can see that it's not doing any damage there. But yeah, you can see that this is going to be kind of a long, tedious process of doing this. The other option, if you don't want to do it this way and stick it to the back, you can always stick it to the front, which, you know, it doesn't really matter, but I guess it depends on how the surround fits in there. So if I was to put this in here now, if I just set this on top of that, you can see that if you really wanted to put it on the top, you could, but there's a gap. There's a gap all the way underneath here that you're going to have to deal with. So you would have to have something to set in there and keep that force down. But with it on the other side, the cone itself is forcing itself up against there, and so that's really the proper way to do it, is the way that it was done before. But you'll see after it's done, it's gonna it's going to look just like brand new. But yeah, I'm just going to keep scraping away at the back on this though. I just wanted to kind of show you how I was doing the back of it, and that it's going to actually take a while. So I've been working on it for 20 minutes now. So, and that's all the farther I got. So you can figure it's going to take quite a while to do both of them. Depends on how much patience you have and how well of a job you want it to be done. Alright, I'm going to get back to it. So this is what I got on the first one. Kind of see that I got it pretty well taken off. You can see the glue residue on there a little bit. I'm not too concerned about that, but I got most of the foam off there, and all I did was like I said, with the alcohol and the Q-tip, and then I used my little screwdriver for scraping it off, being real gentle. And you can see that this side looks pretty good. There's nothing hanging on the edge anymore. So this one is ready to go together. Be sure to continually check the movement, make sure it's not out of whack. You probably will be able to feel that it's scraping a little bit, but you'll have to adjust that when you get ready to bond it down on the outside, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bond it to the cone itself, and then as we're bonding it to the outside, we'll make sure that this goes up and down without scraping. And if it does, that means we gotta, you know, maybe pull it one way or the other just a little bit, because if that scrapes and you can't get rid of it, it's gonna scrape when you have music, and it's just, you're gonna have to do it all over again. All right, that took about 35 to 40 minutes to finish this one completely. So I'm gonna get working on the other one. All right, I got both the speakers all cleaned up. Look nice. I already put the thing on here, the surround on here, but it's not glued or anything. But it does look nice after it's all done. I wanted to show you something before we went ahead and glued this on. I want to try to let you hear what you need to watch out for. I have my phone microphone right there, and I'm going to record this, the noise that you should not hear, and be very careful to make it so you get this in their center, so it doesn't rub. These speakers are poorly made. Because a decent speaker, you wouldn't have to worry that much about them rubbing by going like this. But let me show you what it sounds like right now, just pushing down in the center. That's the coil rubbing up against the metal down inside there, and that's bad. You don't want that. So what you're going to have to do when you go to glue your surround on, it's alright to glue this inside first, let it dry, but then when it comes time to glue the outside edge, you're going to have to maneuver it around to get it so that cone bounces up and down without rubbing. And I can try to hold this one in the spot where it won't rub. I have to push down on this side where my finger's pointing just a little bit to get it so it doesn't rub. See that? You don't hear anything. So that's what I need to watch out for when it comes time to do the final glue over around there, around the outside edge. Because if you don't fix this, you're going to hear the scraping and the distortion when you're actually playing music through it. stop my phone there. So, and I put this one on there just to see what it looks like, you know. But what I'm going to end up doing is lifting this up and squeezing the glue in there all the way around, and then make sure you pop out any of those things so it don't deform that way. And then you'll have a little bit of time to move it around with this glue. From what it says, you got like two minutes, yeah, 2 minutes before it bonds or something like that. So you have a little bit of time to move that around, so you don't have to worry too much. But just try to go like this a couple times as you have the bond on there, just to make sure it's kind of not really bad. This one's actually pretty good. Once I put this foam in there, it actually centered it pretty well, and it doesn't scrape at all. I put the foam on, blow the dust off this here. I put the foam on just by pushing it down underneath. And this is again what I mean, these are made to go underneath. You can put it on top if you want, it's your choice, but these are made to go underneath. And just work it around. Try not to pull too hard. Get it down in there to where you can get it in all the way around. Just like that. And then you can kind of work it back up. Be careful not to poke too much on it, too hard on it. Come on. There we go. And then I'm just going to poke these little dents up, just like that. So that's what it'll kind of look like there. That's better with the foam on there. I don't hear it scraping, so that might make it might be easier than what I expected for when it comes to bonding the outside edge. Because like I said, we're going to bond the inside first. Alright, so this is what we got for glue, and it comes with a little pin type nozzle on there. It's black, so if you mess up a little bit, it's alright, because it kind of matches the speaker. Alright, so let's see if we can get this done without making a real big mess. Change glasses here so I can see a little bit closer. Let's test a little bit of, oh, there you go. I just squeezed it, just barely touched it, and it comes out. So don't squeeze too hard. And it says put it on both surfaces, but I think I'm going to try putting enough on the one surface, and hopefully that'll make up for both surfaces. It's going to be a little tough. Definitely got to have good light, which I don't really have the best light here on this bench. Can you see that? You can see where I'm putting it right on the, and I'm putting a pretty good bead, not way too much, but enough to where I don't have to put it on the top like it says. It suggests putting on both surfaces, but I'm hopefully putting enough on there to where it will spread onto the cone. I'm just barely squeezing this bottle too. It runs out pretty good. Sorry, I'm getting out of the camera a little bit. I'm not paying attention. I got the camera zoomed in, but definitely has a little smell to it. Any that oozes out will ooze out in the bottom. And it might ooze out on the top, and that's fine, because you could take a Q-tip or something and make it look really nice. Alright, I made it all the way around. Just going to let that sit for a second. I just want to try to center this cone so it's in the crease of the surround. Not too bad, and like I said, we can, because you can see I have it coming up around there, so now I'm just going to take that and try to do some sort of a cleanup around there. Not really a cleanup, I guess, but if as much as trying to fill in that gap a little bit, trying to fill in this gap a little bit to make it look more nicer. So I'm just gonna put a little bit, if I can put it on there decent. A little bit goes a long ways. Alright, so that's all the way around. Looks kind of messy, but you don't see this, you don't see these speakers when they're in the unit, but if you wanted to make it look nicer, then you can just run the Q-tip or something around it. of course we have Q-tip hairs in there. I guess you could use whatever you need to get that stuff off. Or if you use something else to smear it around there. I'm going to try to see if I can clean it up a little bit with some alcohol on the foam part. Let's see if that works. That might actually ruin the bond, but I guess I'm not the greatest glue putter on her. I think it'll serve the purpose. It looks like it looks horrible on the camera, but it ain't actually too bad. I guess we could probably wait till this dries too, and then go back and do some touching up on there and wipe some of the glue off. I can hear a little rubbing down deep, but you got to remember these things are supposed to bounce out, but that's not bad. So I think we'll just let this one sit for now. Do the other one and let them sit for the couple hours or so that it requires. I believe it was. Surface drying time is 3 to 6 minutes. Complete cure time is 24 to 48 hours. And of course it tells you to play music through it after 48 hours or up to 48 hours. I don't know why you'd want to play music that much through it, but back on the back side, I can see that it doesn't lay flat, but it will do the job. It laid flat without the bond on there, but you gotta put the bond on, right? Alright, I'm going to let that sit. That's how that one's done. I'll do the other one, and then we'll later, in a little while, some minutes or so, we'll come back and do the outside. Alright, to you it's been a couple seconds, to me it's been a few days. You know, life gets in the way and other things come up. But we did leave off at gluing this in there, and we're going to glue the outside edge to finish it off, make sure it isn't rubbing when we push down on the centers. I was telling you on the backs of these about how it laid down. I don't know, where did I get that to where I could see that? I think it was somewhere. I don't remember how I got it to show you that. But anyway, I was saying that the back had overlapped and was sticking up, and I want to give you a real crude example of this. I got this cone. Let's say this is the cone of the speaker, and this is our little surround. Okay. When I was talking about it was sticking up because we put the bond in there. This is kind of what I was talking about. After you put the bond in there, it makes it so it makes it so you have that little gap in there, right? And it won't lay down because of the bond is in there. Well, after like 2 or 3 minutes of letting it dry, you're able to apply it better, because then it dried a little bit and it starts to stick better. So after that time, I went through and I started pushing this down like this and holding it there for a couple seconds. And then once it was all down like that, then it looks like that. So it's able to stick and actually hold it down like that. So now it's tight up against the cone. So the bottom part of the surround, which would be this part, the part that's sticking up, was now able to lay flush around there and get a good attachment there. I wanted to mention that so you didn't think, oh well, that's going to stick up underneath there now. And I'll take a picture of this and I'll post it up here so you can see it a little bit better. But it does look better, besides the little bit of slop of glue that's around there. But that's all right. So another thing along with that, being that this is plastic, I was able to scrape off the extra glue that I got on here. I used the isopropyl alcohol with a Q-tip to go over the spots, and then once it was soaked, I took this actually wood little piece. It's got a little curl on the end from doing stuff to it, or even just whatever, and then I was able to scrape that gently, and it scraped off all the extra glue. So it looks a lot better than having glue all over the place. You're not able to do it on the surround. I wasn't able to do it that well on that one. This is our first one. So this one still has some glue and stuff up there, but I didn't want to take the chance of poking a hole through that or anything. So, but it's not bad. Like I said, if these were going to be seen out open, we could do a better job. But since these are hidden, I'm not too concerned about it. So let's start putting the bond on the top. Now, like I said, both of these are pretty good and don't hit, so we might be good just putting the bond on and leaving it. Now, a little trick I was going to do, if it wasn't going to be good, was I was going to get a little clip like this, and I might still have to, because I think one of them, they both sound so good right now. But I was going to take this, if I had to push it over a little bit to make it so it didn't make noise, like I can force it to make noise, but if I had to move it over, I would do it just a little bit, and then I would clip this on there with the bond already on there. This way you can hold it towards that direction a little bit to make it stop rubbing, and then just let it dry. So that way when you take this off, then you'll be good and you won't hear nothing. And you can do as many as you need, but it doesn't seem like I'm going to have to do that. Alright, I'm going to use my little wood piece here because I can't use my screwdriver because it's metal and it sticks to the metal, so this way it's easier for me to go around. And I stick that in there like that. And again, I'm just going to put a bead on the bottom. I'm not going to try to put it on both edges. With smaller speakers, it's more difficult to do that, but if you have a bigger speaker, then you can move the cone and stuff a little bit more. And I was going to mention, being that this is plastic, I was able to clean it and scrape on it a little bit. You get a paper cone, it's probably not going to happen. So, because you'll end up getting the paper too wet and you'll poke holes in it or ruin it somehow. I mean, you can always try it, but plastic is better for something like that. So I'm just going to put a bead right towards the edge where it curves down. I'm just going to put a bead right there, and that should be enough to probably a little bit away from it. You can can see right there, and that's about where, if I let this go, you can see that's about where it touches it. So we're going to do that all the way around. And I'm putting, like I said, putting a big enough bead on there. You can see that I shouldn't need to put it on the top, because once we press that foam down, the foam rubber down, it should get a nice coat all over everything. I'm just resting it on the edge as I move it around. This way it does it in a nice curved way, just like the speaker is. Except where the screw holes are. And here it doesn't matter if you get a little extra. You don't want a whole lot extra, but it's just going to stay right in there where the valley is. It might ooze out a little bit over the edge, but alright, that's all the way around. And you can see that I can put quite a bit in there. I probably shouldn't even have put that much in there, because you can see it oozing already. So I'm going to put this back in there. And then always check this. And now we can wait for the 2 minutes or so before even messing with it, because if I start pushing it down right now, it's just going to lift back up because it's not tacky enough yet. So we can just let it sit like that for probably enough time for us to do the other one. Let's do that. We'll slide that one aside. Start doing this one. I'll try to put a little less in there, I think, now, this time. Now I'm trying to do a little bit too less, and I'm not getting it all covered. So just make it look like, make it have a good bead around there. And we're to the end again. Alright, good enough for that. Spilt a little on the table. Alright, so that's the second one. When I push that down far, I can hear it rubbing. But like I said, these are supposed to bounce out, not in. Alright, so let's attempt just to pat this down a little bit. And you'll know when it starts sticking and it doesn't pop back up, so you'll know when it's getting tacky. So you might have to just do it a little bit, wait a little bit, come back and do it again, and then one of those times it's going to stick down and not come back up. So like right now, I think it's still a little wet to where it ain't holding it down. And remember that we still need to bond these in there the same way. When we do that, we're going to flip the whole speaker over and let it rest on it to use the weight to hold it in there. But we're going to try to get these centered first so we have no noise. And this one's really good. There's no noise at all. So let's just take this one and go around a little bit. I know it hasn't been 2 minutes or anything, but we'll make sure we get it nice and spread around underneath there. Yeah, this one's still a little too wet also, because it's still popping back up a little bit. So we'll wait a little bit more. And this is what I had to do with the other side when we were doing the inside. I would hold my finger, like I had it here, I would hold my finger on the inside and then I would press down on that, so I wouldn't be pressing just on the cone to, you know, take a chance of ripping it or tearing it. Now, what we could do if we knew that this wasn't going to move or anything is we could just put this on there, glue it on there, flip it over, and call it done. And we could probably do that once this gets a little sticky, because this ring here and the weight of the magnet, or the weight of the whole speaker, will push these down and make it flush. Now the only thing is when we flip it over and put the weight on it, we don't want that whole cone to get pushed one way, because then it starts to rub. That's why it's probably better to make sure this is pretty tacky first. And it is getting tacky now because it's starting to pick up as I dab on wet spots. It may be a little tedious work, but you know, cheaper than buying a new speaker, right? Of course, in this case, I think I told you already that I talked to Milwaukee and they don't sell extra speakers. Or the person told me he doesn't think so. He or she doesn't think so, whoever answered it. Which that would make them some more money, since these are the things that go from people cranking them up like this guy. I guess he has a full blast the whole time he's at work. Yeah, it's starting to get pretty tacky now. So you can see it takes a few minutes before. Depends on how much you goop on there too. That sounds pretty good. I guess we won't have to use our little clip, because that sounds really good. I know you can't hear it like it did before, but there's no scraping at all. So I think what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to put these on and then flip it over and let the weight of the speaker keep it all flat and flush, and then get back 24 to 48 hours and we should be able to blast it and everything sound good. Because right now I don't think they're going to move, because some spots are nice and sticky, and if we make sure that we turn it upside down without sliding it sideways or anything like that, I think it should bond straight. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put a, I don't remember which one of these went on what, but I don't think it really matters either. So I'm just going to put a little bit, because the stuff, the goop that's already in there will help too. And I'm just going to put it right, you can see these cover the whole, pretty much the whole inside, from the outside lip here. Let me get those. They pretty much cover from the outside lip here to just close to the first bend right there. So as long as you put this anywhere in there, we should be good. And I'm just putting a little bead, probably not as much as I put on the other parts, but because this is actually foam too, the piece I'm going to be bonding on there. Like I said, usually they're, I've noticed them made out of cardboard. Okay, so there we got a bead all the way around there. Let me stick this in here a second. Now we just got to make sure we line up our screw holes. That's not it. These are a little, you got to make sure you put the right side or line it up right, otherwise the holes won't line up. And I'm going to push this down a little bit as I put it in there to help smear the icky around. Test it again. Sounds good. Now these holes aren't going to line up exactly because it's kind of demolished with it the first time the factory screwed it in, but it shouldn't be a big deal though. Like I said, it's foam, so you'll be able to move it around. So now let's take it, flip it like this. Now we'll leave it like that for 24 to 48 hours. And that should be good. We should be able to play it and bang it around a little bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's getting really sticky there. It's pretty much down flat. What ain't will be after we get done doing this. So let's put the bead on there. I'm putting it like right on the edge of the foam and hoping that's a good spot for it. If it doesn't stick very well afterwards, you can always add a little bit more to it. Alright. That's definitely not the prettiest looking thing, but alright. So you can see I put it like that, nothing lines up. So we got to turn it one time, and now it lines up. It's just because of the way the speaker's made. I mean, the speaker's round, but the casing itself is, the holes are offset. Oops. Got some goop on me. Yeah, I definitely got enough in there. And this glue is elastic-like. It moves so that, you know, it doesn't harden. Alright, I think we're going to call that done. Let's check it. That's good. I don't hear no scraping at all. I'm glad we didn't have to use the clips. Alright, let's flip this one over. Gonna press down a little bit. Alright, we'll see in probably 48 hours. Alright, we're back in about 24 hours, I guess it's been, something like that, since we finished the speakers. So I figured we'd put this thing together and turn it up a little bit, see what it sounds like. But first we're going to solder the wires on to our speakers. So doesn't matter which side we start with, I guess. Got our two blacks, our capacitor, and our yellow wire on this side. Two blacks, of course, go to the negative side. And this ought to be fun, but we'll see how well it works. They don't give you much room at all for maneuvering the speakers around and all that. So we'll see if we can do this without splattering solder all over the circuit board down below. That looks like it for the ground. I put little hooks in the end so it can kind of hook on the hook through the hole that on the speaker connection to help hold it there while I grab the soldering gun. And dab some solder on it. Yeah, no room at all, I'll tell you. I just want to make sure that capacitor wire isn't going to touch the metal of the speaker. And we'll bend that capacitor up a little bit. Alright, so that's one. Probably got like an inch or so of space in between there to work. And then we'll just set it down in there like that. And all the holes line up like they should. As long as you do it the way that you took it out of there. Yeah, if I did it this way, you can see the holes don't line up. So I have to do it this way like that. So both these are facing that way. Now let's see if we can get this hooked up here. This side we'll do the positive first because that's the farthest away. Put my little hooks through the holes. Trying to get the capacitor through there now. Alright. I'm right-handed, so I gotta get the grab the soldering iron with my right hand. Throw a bunch of solder on there and try not to burn myself. Alright, that worked. There's that one. Oops. This negative wire might be a pain in the butt. I didn't prepare it as good as I wish I would have. Good. Yeah, this wire that's coming from the tweeter is like so short that there's like no room for anything. I guess I can put the good one in there first and then throw the tweeter one on top of that one. If I can. I can't. Hope you got patience if you ever got to do this to one of these. I guess you could always add some wire to it. There, it looks like I got it. Put the tweeter one in there first, and then I'll try to see if I can get the other one squeezed in there. There we go. And making sure that they're not touching the frame of the speaker. Now I'm attempting this left-handed, so that ought to be good, huh? I think I got it. I'm going to try to bend the prongs out a little bit. They look just a little bit too close for me to the speaker housing. That should be good. All right. They are in there. Now, we could test them right now, but, you know, why not go all the way and put all the screws in there and get it all snugged up and everything, and then realize that, oh crap, something's wrong. That's usually about the way it works for me. Alright, I sped that up a little bit just so you wouldn't have to, you know, it took, I don't know, not even 5 minutes or something, but what's the sense of watching me do that, right? Alright, but now we got to connect up the MP3 player again to see if we can get this thing going here. Hopefully it still has enough juice in it. I got my wire all tangled up here around the camera leg. Let's see. I think my MP3 player puked out. Give me a minute while this charges a little bit, and we'll get back to this. Alright, sorry about that. I think we got enough juice in there to play the MP3 player for a few seconds. With some, of course, YouTube free music. Let me turn this on. Auxiliary, oh, that's already set up. It has batteries in it, so it remembers, I guess, but the batteries are corroded in this thing. So let's hit play. Alright. Well, we have power, and it works. I know if you turn it too loud on videos, that I don't know if people know this, but if you turn it too loud, it's just all distorted and mess anyway. But let's give this a listen for a second. Let me see where the bass is put on. Let's see. Oops, that's EQ. There it is. I couldn't figure out where the. Okay. Oh, that was the volume. Sorry. Looks like it's brand new. Alright, so I got the bass turned down a little bit, but I won't face it right towards the speaker, right towards the camera. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, just that little bit. I don't hear no distortion or anything. So I think we can call this one done, good, and the customer will be happy for that. So now you can crank it all day long again until these surrounds wear out and fall out. Alright, I think that's it. I guess we will see you in the next one.